There are legends round here, even if only in their own minds. Forgotten, but not dead. Some have tried to stop them, but they keep coming back. Coming to entertain you. They are the Crystal Lake Soldiers.
Welcome back to the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. My name is Isaiah. This is episode 17. Tonight I am joined by Sean.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot's going on, that's for sure. How about you?
Hanging out, man. Trying to make it through this crazy Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, same here. I'm going to be glad when it's over with. I'm just kind of at that point where it's like, I just want to get winter over with. It hasn't even really started yet, and I'm already ready for it to be over with.
Yeah. As long as mine doesn't end up with fake cranberry sauce, I'll be alright.
Oh god, yeah. That gelled stuff is fucking gross. That's like, I like cranberry sauce, but I can't do that gel crap.
Yeah, I don't like that crap either.
Ugh, it's got to be like homemade.
The one with the crust under it, with the real ones. That's what
Yep.
I want.
Yeah. That and sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes.
Yeah,
especially if
I
you
love all the sides, man. I'm a side person for Thanksgiving anyway. So.
That's for sure. Even when I was eating meat, I didn't like turkey. And so
yeah, I was never big on it. Just some side piece that filled up on the plate.
I did get something new to try for this year though, because like in the past, me and my wife would get like from Whole Foods. They have like their vegan Thanksgiving meals, which are always gross. Yeah. I've never liked any of those like fake turkeys or whatever that they give you.
Tofurkey's got that big ass one they sell. That's expensive. That isn't all that great tasting.
Right.
I'm not
so
stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because instead of doing it that way this year and spending a shit ton of money for something that we won't even end up eating, Gardein actually came out with this Nashville hot chicken tenders. So we're going to do that instead. And we're going to bring that for Thanksgiving and just have chicken tenders, basically. And then do that. Because those fucking things are good. Like, if you get like a good like Buffalo Ranch dipping sauce to go with those, oh, it's so good. So incredibly good.
That's usually some of the best stuff. The fake chicken stuff. Yeah.
Especially if you get it, like if you do it in the air fryer or if you fry it up, then it gets all crispy and stuff too.
Sorry. Yeah, microwave's never the route for sure.
Oh god, no, not with that. No.
Need something to make it crispy. Oven or a fryer, like you said.
That is for sure. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to having that. Cause I love those things. I don't typically eat them as much, but every once in a while I like popping those suckers in and having those. Those are pretty dang good.
Yeah, I'll be cooking a turkey for everybody else, but I make so many sides it won't matter. So mac and cheese and stuffing and endless amounts of food.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to the sides, definitely, because I'm definitely more of a side person as well. Especially when you get like the other things, because like even like growing up, because like I was saying, I never really was big into turkey, but I would always have like the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, the rolls, and then I would get like.
I like this when I was a kid.
Funny enough, we never really had deviled eggs growing up, so I never really got experience to that until I was actually an adult. But those are pretty good too. I don't think I've ever seen them for Thanksgiving though, at least on our side of things anywhere I've gone. But pie though, pumpkin pie is always good. I love pumpkin pie.
We always have a bunch of pies here. Dutch apple and pumpkin and cherry. I can't get my coconut custard one this year. Like, I either got to make it myself or do without.
Okay. I feel like I'm getting fatter just talking about this.
Yeah. It's turned to the food show.
Guys, revamp the podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to the Fat Vegan Hour.
Oh, good stuff. But it is the holidays. With Thanksgiving coming up this week, we decided this week we're going to talk about a topic. We're actually going to be reviewing 2 movies tonight, and I would say they're more Thanksgiving movies. I like watching them around this time. They deal with consumerism because obviously Black Friday is right after Thanksgiving, so it's the perfect time. So we're going to be reviewing both the original Dawn of the Dead and 1986's Chopping Mall.
I can't wait. I think one deals more with how obsessive people are, and the other one shows how they should all be treated.
Yep. I agree 100%. So it's going to be good. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this because it's been a while since we've done a review. Because we did the one review for 3 from Hell, and I definitely want to start doing more reviews. So
yeah, I was ready.
I think this will be good.
Do Vengeance or whatever it was, and we never did.
Yeah, we still need to do that. And if you're unfamiliar, we're talking about the Friday the 13th fan film Vengeance that came out about a month or 2 ago. So expect hopefully a review on that here coming up maybe shortly. I mean, with the Christmas season coming up, I think we're going to be heavily focused Christmas-wise for that season. But I would say, we'll have something coming up here for that.
There, so.
Yeah, something. We'll figure it out. But before we get into the review of the movies, we do have a couple pieces of news and information for things that are coming up. So to kind of kick things off, we still don't have any new information or news regarding Halloween Kills, so that'll be on standby until we start getting more information from them on that. But we did touch on that SpectreVision was looking at possibly wanting to do the next Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Well, this week, Wes Craven's estate has put out that they are actually starting to take pitches for a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie, both possible movies and a possible HBO Max series.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, I'm not big on continuing all these franchises on, but it's Nightmare on Elm Street, so of course it's exciting.
Yeah.
I think the TV series, actually, I'm intrigued by what they would even do with that. So,
I mean,
as long as they can get Robert, man. If they can get Robert for a movie, I'm 100% all in. So.
Definitely. Even if they made it, turned it into a way where they had Robert start, because I know this was like an idea that was going around that they could do it, where Robert starts out as Freddy, like a weaker Freddy, and then you could transition it into a new actor doing it when he gets revitalized, after the killing starts. So it could be almost like a way of passing the torch. So I think that could be an interesting way that they could go about doing it if they did it right. But there's so many possibilities with this, even with the series, because I mean you could go the whole Freddy's Nightmare route.
That's what I was thinking. That would be awesome if they did something like that. Because as weird as that show got at times, it was pretty cool. So
I agree.
Yeah, and not only when they explored only a handful of episodes that explored Freddy's backstory. Like, they had some pretty good stories in there. So
definitely.
It gives a platform for, these up-and-coming horror people to work on. Like,
exactly.
We need more stuff like that for people to work on. Figure out the
exactly.
And
right. And then the other part of this, and this wasn't a part of the original news that got announced for this, but Mike Flanagan, the man behind this year's Dr. Sleep, he also did Hush for Netflix, Gerald's Game, and The Haunting of Hill House. He has thrown his hat into the running for that, saying that he would love a chance to be able to take the reins and produce the next Nightmare on Elm Street. So that could be interesting because, honestly, with Mike Flanagan, everything that he's done has been pretty stellar when it comes to the horror genre.
Yeah, I've liked his stuff. I don't know. I mean, we'd have to see it, you know. I like his stuff a lot, but it's been more, you know, kind of a different than what Freddy movies are. But who's to say he couldn't do it? That doesn't mean he couldn't do it and have.
Right.
If he's really passionate and wants to do it, who knows what he's got up his sleeve? So.
Yeah. I mean, it's somebody new, it's somebody fresh, you know.
Yeah.
He could probably bring.
And
a
they did
good
that when they were originally
perspective.
doing them. You know, after part one, man, they were always going with kind of a new, fresh guy. That's, you know,
Yeah.
So, and I think that was a good thing. Like up until Freddy's dead, maybe. But, so.
I agree. 'Cause, yeah, Freddy's Dead. I love Freddy's Dead because it's a part of the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
I like the
But
backstory stuff.
It was a train wreck.
Yeah.
It was a straight up train wreck.
It's a freaking Looney Tunes show. That's for sure.
Pretty much. I mean, I for what it was, with how goofy it was, that's kind of what made that movie, was how goofy it got.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't goofy, I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have hit the mark.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, there's gonna always be people that hate this movie, just like I hate fucking Jason Goes to Hell. I will never like Jason Goes to Hell, but you know, it is what it is. It's different strokes for different folks. I like Freddy's Dead for what it was, even though it was a horseshit train wreck.
Yeah.
And that's all.
It's my
really
least
say.
favorite of this series, but I still always watch it. Like, I don't hate on it.
Right.
I watch it before the remake or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
That I won't watch. Like, so.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'm just too hard on Jason Goes to Hell, but at the same time, every time I try to watch it,
That one, when it first was released, I hated it and with a passion, man. I refused to watch it for many years, and then I started throwing it into the rotation of marathons and stuff. And it's not so much the story itself as it is some of the kills and some of the atmosphere. And it is like,
right.
I don't know. There's things I like about it, but there's things I hate about it. You know, the whole body snatcher and all that was ridiculous and stupid. They went so far away from the series, and I feel like it was done on purpose to try to smear it and change it. And so,
I agree. It's just one of those.
Well,
yeah, it's just one of those things with that movie that I'll start watching it. I'll get like a half an hour into it, you know, after that first scene and kind of into after the coroner's ate in the heart and everything. I'm just like, I can't do this. This movie's so fucking terrible. I just have to turn it off because I just can't do it. Like, it's one thing to be silly, because that movie was silly, but it like took itself seriously, you know. Whereas you have like Jason X. I absolutely love Jason X because it embraced that silliness and just like went completely overboard. It was just kind of like where they were trying to go in between of an actual like serious Friday the 13th movie and in between like a cartoon, and it just didn't I don't know, it just didn't seem like it sat well with how they did it. But that's just my opinion.
It kind of killed the franchise too. So
definitely. But
it's never been the same since.
Right. So that's interesting to hear about this news that now Wes Craven's estate is really wanting to move forward on this. It just means that we're that much closer to something Freddy-wise coming, which I'm always for. Like I've been saying, Nightmare on Elm Street's what got me into horror movies in general, so anytime I can get more Freddy content, I'm all for it. 100%. But moving on from there, a little bit of a sad news from this past week. Michael J. Pollard, who is a character actor who had been working for like 60 years in the business, passed away. Yeah. Now, this is notable because he was a part of a House of a Thousand Corpses. He was in Sleepaway Camp 3 and a shit ton of other movies and TV shows throughout.
Yeah, over 100. I think he's done over 100 roles, man. Like, I can't even, like, when I was looking through his list, he was in so many things that I didn't even realize he was in. He's one of them faces you feel like you know them because you've seen them so much.
Oh yeah,
I think
definitely.
One of my favorites was when he was in Scrooged. Like, that was a good role. And that's actually how I found out about his passing, was someone posting that picture, and Bill Murray's rant about why didn't you go to Claire? She could have helped you. So it was a sad way to post it, but it was a sad moment. So
yeah,
even
it
did
sucks.
Toxic Crusaders, man. Shit, who can say that? So
yeah, I loved that show as a kid. I remember that show from when I was a kid. Oh my god,
it was great. Toxie was great for all us kids, even though, like, we probably shouldn't have known about him yet.
Probably not. But I mean,
but I saw him on like
pretty tame.
edited TV. Like, it was a while before I saw Trauma unedited, and I still loved it. But
same, I absolutely love Trauma. So that's sad that he passed. I mean, he had a good career though. Ran a pretty good life man. Too.
Like, who couldn't ask to? If you're an actor and you want to work, he was doing it. So
he definitely was.
And some like decent stuff, man.
Oh yeah,
not just a chump. So.
Yeah, like Bonnie and Clyde, and I think it was Bonnie and Clyde.
Man.
Yeah.
It was in Bonnie and Clyde.
Plenty
Dick
of
Tracy,
work and
so many stuff, man.
Yeah.
Lots of TV shows. We'll
definitely.
Miss him.
Yeah, rest in peace. It's sad, but it is what it is. Now, moving from there into some more happy news. Shout TV on Black Friday is doing a 24-hour marathon of Chopping Mall, the movie that we're going to be reviewing later on.
I was like, they knew it too, man. They knew. So, that's awesome, man. I'll probably squeeze it in at some point that day.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I have the disc, why not? Who cares?
You can just pop that sucker on the TV and just let it run in the background.
Chopping Mall. A new tradition, maybe, huh?
Hey.
Not just a Christmas story. Have Chopping Mall Black Friday.
Because there's so many movies you could do on Thanksgiving, but this is just great.
Yeah.
You could go the Joe Bob route where you do like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Hills Have Eyes and that kind of stuff. And then you have this on, for Black Friday and stuff, which is great. Ingenious.
Yeah.
See, great minds think alike.
Yeah, there you go.
Us and Shout TV. So that's going to be cool. I was excited when I heard about that because I actually didn't even hear about that before thinking of for this week's topic. I didn't even know that was happening, which is awesome.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, we got to have that one. So yeah, it's good stuff.
So that's coming Black Friday. It's a 24-hour marathon, so check it out if you haven't checked it out. It'll be on Shout TV. So it's through Shout Factory if you are unfamiliar. Definitely check this out if you haven't. It's a short movie too. It's not like it's an overly long movie. It's only 77 minutes long, so
it's a hard Jim Wynorski classic.
Yep. Definitely. So, moving on from there, we got a new documentary coming out for Tom Savini called Smoke and Mirrors. This is being released exclusively on Shudder, and that's coming out on December 16th of this year.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, man. There's so many like people in the genre getting a spotlight put on them. It's like Tom Savini's just, another great one to look at.
Yep.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, like Corman. We would have not had, like, if it wasn't for Savini, effects in the movies we love and how we look at those effects wouldn't even be the same. Like, I think he's the. Like, you can give him almost 90% of the credit. Some other well, not 90%. Rick Baker did a lot too, man. But
oh yeah, definitely.
When it comes to like the violent side of things, Savini was the master. So Rick Baker was the artist, where Savini was like the violent magician. So.
It's true. It's really true, and it's definitely well overdue. For him to finally get a documentary like this. So that's going to be cool. Check that out. Like I said, December 16th on Shudder. And that's right after the whole Joe Bob marathon. So remember, that's coming up too on December 13th. Because you don't want to go see the new Black Christmas movie. You're going to want to watch Joe Bob that night. So that's my mini rant for Black Christmas.
Isn't that a Blumhouse?
That is Blumhouse.
Yeah, I think they fumbled the ball on that one.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I really do.
Y'all
That's a whole other
complained enough
discussion.
already, so, yeah.
Right. I don't need to go on another rant this week about that. So kind of moving on from there, we actually have some Universal Monster news this week, which is great because we talked, about the Invisible Man that's coming out here shortly, and they're actually kind of getting the ball rolling on a couple other movies. Now, this one that came out first is one that you wouldn't really expect. So it's based off of Dracula's henchman, Reinfeld. He's actually getting his own movie, and it's being directed by the director of Rocket Man, Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah, that surprised me, but I'm pretty intrigued because in Dracula, I love Reinfeld's characters. So,
yeah,
that scene when they open the boat and he's sitting there. I can't help but bust out laughing, but I love that freaking scene. So,
yeah, it's great.
I don't know. Since the Invisible Man trailer, man, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. Like, I was really hating the Universal Monster stuff, but maybe and with the next piece of news we're about to talk about, it seems like maybe they're rethinking at it and going about it in a much better way.
I hope so. I hope to God so. I hope they're going the route that they are going with the Invisible Man with these ones. Because, I mean, the whole Reinfeld one could be interesting, just seeing kind of things from his perspective if they're going that route. And so the second piece of news regarding Universal Monsters, which has got me really, really intrigued, because I think it could go really good if this end up being true. So this is kind of more of a rumor. This isn't news, really. But it's being said that James Wan is possibly in talks of producing the next Frankenstein movie.
Yeah. From what I understand, like, Variety had it on their website and then took it down
right
pretty fast. But so, yeah, that would be cool, man. I like everything he's done so far. So Frankenstein's one of my favorites, so I think he could do a good job. Frankenstein.
I think it's overdue.
Yeah, Frankenstein needs something good done with him, man. Like, there's not a lot of great Frankenstein stuff out there. So.
No, definitely not recently. I mean, you had that horrible I, Frankenstein with Aaron Eckhart. That was nothing but a fucking action movie. Then you had that Victor Frankenstein with fucking Harry Potter.
Yeah, I never saw that one. So.
Yeah, it's been a long time since a good one.
Reinfeld might be a way for them to kind of, because I know they want to do a whole universe angle. That might be a way for them to tie things in with that movie and why it's being released before, say, a Dracula movie.
Right.
Just a thought.
So, yeah. So it could be interesting. We'll see what ends up happening ultimately, but some interesting news and tidbits coming out for that, though. That's for dang sure. Kind of moving on from there, though. Also, the Dark Crystal puppet team is actually working on a new creature feature called Creatures. It's going to be all practical effects, and it's going to be. I
don't know much about it, but like, I've read that they're going to go the old school practical effects, and being that's the puppet team, immediately made me think of Pumpkinhead and some of the stuff like that. So I'm excited. Yep. I have no clue what it's about, but I'm already excited. And they're great puppeteers. So.
Right. Well, I pulled up I found the article for it. And so with this, they're shooting for a Christmas 2020 release on this.
Oh, okay.
And then it's coming from the director of Cute Little Buggers. And basically the synopsis is reading, a group of astronomy students get more than they bargained for after finding an injured alien who's being targeted by a group of bloodthirsty alien creatures. So not a whole lot of information.
Yeah. I'm all in. Let's see them alien puppets.
Exactly. Yeah. So
digital's cool,
stuff.
but I don't care how well they do the digital, man. I can't remember who I heard say this, but I agree with this. There's something in your brain that just knows it's not real, and that's what when you get the puppets and the more practical effects, you know what I mean? I just think sometimes it gives it a more real feel, and it's more scary.
Yeah.
So
I think it with digital for me it gets like too polished, if that makes sense.
yeah, like I love the new Godzilla movies. They're awesome, but they have a different feel because of the digital. You know what I mean? Like, as awesome and amazing as they are, there's still something inside you saying, "This isn't real."
Right. Exactly. So this is cool that they're kind of a lot of these like older styles and things are coming back into play here. Yeah, obviously, you know, the whole Nightmare on Elm Street thing and all these practical effects and Universal monsters. It's like what's old is becoming new again, and which is great. I mean,
I think it's great, man. It's time. Sometimes you need to go back to what started it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here in the first place.
Yeah.
And as someone who wants to try to make, you know, films and things, it gives me more hope in some of my ideas too. So.
Oh, definitely. It definitely gets you those creative juices going. That's for sure. And so it'll be exciting to see, you know, who else follows suit with that, you know, because I'm hoping this is going to be a start of people going back to digital, or not to digital, sorry, to practical from digital, you know, because I think it's needed, especially nowadays, because everybody relies so heavily on digital effects now.
You know, not to knock the hard work that does go into some of the digital, but I think because of the creativity behind the practical, sometimes is why they've gone away from it. They're both creative, but it's different kinds of creativity. You know what I mean? And some people have strengths in one or the other, and you know, computers obviously are so out there. That's why that's taken over. But the practical way just gives it such a real feel, man. And I think sometimes someone's hands-on really brings that out. If that makes sense.
Well, there's also such an artistry when it comes to practical effects too, though. Yeah. It's like it brings out everybody's creativity because you got to work around, you know, if there's wires or making sure it looks real, and so everybody's got to work together.
And lumps of clay and latex and other things, and trying to make this shit look real. Yep. So.
Whereas digital, it's, I mean, you can just shoot something without something being there, and then you can just put it in post-production. You know, it doesn't nearly have enough artistry like the old way with practical effects does, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
so.
I 100% agree. That's kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm hoping more people go this route and more companies go this route. Start bringing back the practical effects. It just works so much better, especially with horror. When you see blood splatter that's digital, you can tell it's digital.
It's not a dated technique. It's just a different technique. So.
Exactly. So, my other little mini rant for the night. Moving on from there. So we got some trailers coming up here, or trailers for movies that we kind of checked out for this week. So starting off, we got the movie Snatchers, which is coming out on digital on January 7th, followed by Blu-ray and DVD on February 18th. This one actually looks pretty funny, pretty good.
It looked pretty good. Like, at first I thought it was just going to be comedy, but I feel like it's got a strong horror element to it as well. So.
Oh yeah, that little fucking creature popping out.
It looks like it pops out a lot too. It's causing more trouble than a little real kid would. So.
Well, it looked like a fucking gremlin after it got wet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm excited. It looks funny, man.
Yeah.
Looks like something fun to watch.
I agree, 100%. It caught me right away, and it kept me interested throughout the whole trailer. I mean, yeah, it looks good. Now, coming out next year as well, in April on the 24th, is a movie called Antebellum. Now, this is being produced by Jordan Peele, and this one is interesting. Yeah, I don't know really kind of what to think about it yet.
Yeah, the trailer or teaser, whatever it was, like, it was all over the place, so I have no freaking clue what it's about. But it was cool enough.
Which I don't mind.
Yeah, but it was cool enough to make me want to know more. try to find out what it's about. So
yeah, I mean, at least it's not Black Christmas showing you the whole fucking movie in the minute and a half trailer it has.
I almost took maybe there was some kind of weird time travel shit going on or some shit. Like, was it a slave or someone put back into slavery, or was she brought from slavery back to now? I don't, or has she got some connection to it? Like, I couldn't figure it out.
That's what hooked me, because they were showing that whole slave angle, and then you see the jet flying through the sky. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, so I'm interested. Should be good.
Yeah.
He's been doing some pretty decent stuff. I don't like everything, but it's been, some pretty good stuff coming out. So.
Right, definitely. So, looking at this year, for the last two things for trailers. So, coming on December 6th, we've got The Confession Killer, which is a documentary about Henry Lee Lucas and is being produced by Netflix.
Yeah, that looks awesome, man. And it also presents a wild angle about that he was just bullshitting everybody and never did any of it in the first place. So.
Yeah, these documentaries, they can be hit or miss, but this one actually looks really, really interesting just based off of him confessing to all these fucking murders and you not really knowing if he actually did it or not.
And honestly, just seeing him in the trailer and the way he was acting, I was like, he reminds me of a lot of bullshitters I've met. So.
Right.
And of course, I'm sure that, they strategically picked those moments to sell the documentary. But it looks good, man. And, I like most of the docuseries they've been doing. Netflix is pretty good. Got some good stuff coming out, so. And Henry Lee Lucas, man, that's a wild story anyway. So I don't know a lot about it, but I'm tuning in for this one. So.
That's for sure. Now, the final trailer that we kind of looked at tonight was for Servant. Now, this is coming out this week, on the 28th. It's being produced by M. Night Shyamalan. It's an Apple TV Plus original. This one looks weird, and it really looks interesting.
Yeah, the way the baby looked freaked me out to begin with. And then when
I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, then when you realize it's just a fake doll, and this woman has somehow convinced herself it's her dead child, which is insanely unhealthy. So that alone is enough to make a good movie, but then they throw in this nanny who... I don't know what the fuck she is, so.
Something.
Maybe she's their real child. So.
Right.
Who knows with M. Night Shyamalan, man. So he's hit or miss with me, but this looks pretty good.
Yeah, so. I agree. So good stuff coming up here for movies and TV series and stuff to check out. So, actually, another little interesting tidbit for Servant before we move on here. That actually just got renewed for the second season before it's even released.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess the people at Apple TV like it. So.
Yeah, I guess so. So, good stuff coming up, and we'll have more for you, obviously, next week regarding TV shows, movies coming up. So, we will let you know. All right, so we were talking about the holiday season coming up here. Thanksgiving is this week. Black Friday, right after Thanksgiving. We already talked about the 24-hour marathon on Shout TV for Shopping Mall. But tonight we are actually going to be reviewing two movies based inside of malls, dealing with consumerism and all that. We're going to be talking about Dawn of the Dead and Shopping Mall from 1986. And actually we have Ted joining us now. Just in time
That's
for
such a coincidence. That's such a coincidence. It's funny talking about malls because earlier today I reinstalled Dead Rising on my PS4.
That's great.
Totally coincidence. Look, I didn't even know I was going to make it tonight, and now I've got the trifecta there.
Yeah.
It's meant to be, Ted.
It's definitely meant to be. So... let's take a look at 1978's Dawn of the Dead.
In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its time. Now, George Romero brings us the most intensely shocking motion picture experience for all times. Dawn of the Dead. Night of the Living Dead has ended. Dawn of the Dead is here. Get that room!
It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill.
They must be destroyed on sight.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead was released on May 24th, 1979. Actually, not 1978, so that was my bad. This movie was made on a budget of $650,000. For how long, like, the extended cut is and everything, it's almost hard to believe that this movie was made for the shape.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And there's so
with
many
the
different
amount
cuts.
of effects and so many things. Yeah, I've seen 2 of the cuts. Actually, well, 3 of the cuts.
Yeah,
it's a great movie. It's a good natural progression in the what I consider the original Dead trilogy.
Yep.
So,
Things are getting worse.
yeah.
right.
Started off bad at night,
worse.
and things are just getting worse in dawn. And then by
That's why I
the
like
time we
the
get to day,
beginning.
everything is just
Yeah.
done.
Which is my favorite. Day is my favorite.
Yep, I love
Dawn's
Day
my
of the Dead.
second, man. Like the first when I saw Dawn before Day, and Dawn instantly became my favorite.
Right.
I saw Day, if that makes sense.
Nope.
I actually got to see these movies. I got to see in order, and Day automatically
Yeah.
became my favorite after watching it because I was like, "This is
exactly.
freaking
Each one
awesome."
I saw it, I was like, "Man, this is great! Oh, this is fucking great! Oh, this is like it just kept getting better."
So, yeah, Dawn of the Dead is great. Some quick facts regarding the movie here. So the cast includes David Emge, Ken Foree, Galen Ross, Scott R. Reininger, and Tom Savini. Obviously directed by the man himself, George A. Romero. Just a couple little tidbits that I was kind of looking up, as getting ready for this review. So filming took place at the Monroeville Mall during the winter of 1977 and 78. So they kind of would do it, at night, obviously, when nobody was there for recording. Another little tidbit is Galen Ross actually refused to scream during the film because she felt that would just diminish, like, the strength of her character. And she told that to George Romero once when he wanted her to scream, and he never asked her to scream again. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a change of pace from Barbara and Night.
Oh God, yes. Like
she
polar
was
opposites.
just catatonic the whole movie, and then just
Galen Ross was a much stronger.
useless. Barbara was useless in the original Night.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%.
she was taking up space.
And then the
Johnny will pick me up.
Johnny, I gotta find Johnny. That whole little treble in her tremble in her voice every time she talked when she was just distraught. But anyways, the last piece of trivia that I grabbed for this movie was regarding the extras, actually, because the Dead movies were very famous because extras would come out in droves to be a part of the movie. And so the extras that appeared in this movie were reportedly given $1 in cash, a donut, and a Dawn of the Dead t-shirt.
And you know what? They still loved every minute of it.
Exactly.
I was heartbroken when I heard they were doing Land of the Dead and decided to film it in Canada, man, because I was already packed and ready to go to Pittsburgh.
Poor Sean got his heart broken.
I was like, finally my chance. Oh, well. I still love you, George.
So besides that, Ted, did you have any other tidbits? Because I know usually you like to pull tidbits out when we're talking about movies. Do you have anything extra to kind of add to that for stuff people might not know?
I just love the fact that he got this finance because of Dario Argento.
Yep.
You know, Dario Argento's like, hey, let's make another one. You know, you'll have full creative control for the U.S. part, and I'll take over the European part and do what I want with that. And so they were like, okay.
And you let him come to his house and write it and everything, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that's pretty cool, and it's cool how the genesis of the movie actually happened when I believe Romero was inside a mall, and he was like, "Man, I bet people could just like live here for like weeks and weeks because this place is huge." And he's like, "Hey, wait a minute now."
Yeah, I actually heard Dario Argento like arranged with Monroeville Mall, and then that's how he was able to get some of the owners of the mall to help finance as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to say that Rubenstein needs to get off of it and just let somebody license it so the movie can get re-released on home video again.
Stop being a dickhead.
Yeah.
Give us Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray in the U.S. I know we've got the one that's coming that's, international next year for a 4K Blu-ray, but Jesus Christ.
It's been like 10 years since the Anchor Bay Blu-ray came out here, though. And
it's been ridiculous.
People try to sell it for like $200. It's just like, oh my goodness.
New fans and people who don't own it or are up and coming trying to learn, like, they can't even, it's hard
Mark.
to access unless I know, that's what I thought
Mark
about.
couldn't get it.
You had to go on YouTube, and that's not always reliable. So.
No.
Nah.
Depending what week it is, they might take it down.
Right. So yeah, that's a good those are some good tidbits. I totally forgot about the whole financing thing because that's actually a good little story to kind of go along with that. So for those that haven't seen Dawn of the Dead, the kind of basic plot, first off, shame on you. But the plot of the movie is it's following the ever-growing epidemic of zombies that have risen from the dead. So you have 2 Philadelphia SWAT team members, a traffic reporter, and his television executive girlfriend, flying out, and they seek refuge in a secluded shopping mall. And obviously shit's going to hit the fan, because it wouldn't be a horror movie, and it wouldn't be a Romero Dead movie without things finally coming to a head and hitting the fan. So from there, let's go ahead.
It's a great story, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this movie is actually the movie that got me into wanting to make movies. Me and my buddies in high school actually watched this religiously. We watched this so much, like all the time. And we actually had written out our own Dead movie if we were to do it. And we were actually planning on actually making this at one point. Because basically we had our hometown, which is a suburb of Minneapolis. And the whole story was about these group of high school kids trying to get across town during a zombie epidemic to get to the I don't remember if it was the high school or what, but there's like getting from point A to point B basically, and then running into all these obstacles. And like we actually had an idea for a scene at our old elementary school before it got torn down, where you had these zombie kids playing on the playground, or playing as best as a zombie can be, because we're talking Romero zombies here, just stumbling around everywhere. So yeah, we had this whole thing planned out for the longest time, and obviously we never did it, but that's what really kind of got me started into wanting to make movies, was this movie in particular. And this is why this one, for me, is my one go-to zombie movie, that I've never gotten tired of this movie at any point.
I, for the longest time, just loved the whole idea of them living in the mall. That's really what I was like, God, I'll kill everybody to take over the damn mall. It's mine. Little did I realize is that was the whole statement that was being made before me.
Right.
Because I was a little consumering bastard myself.
Yeah. So
this was ours.
Regarding this movie, because obviously there are the 3 different cuts. Is there one of the cuts that you guys prefer over the others, and why?
Theatrical, because I think the pacing is the best in it.
Okay.
And that's Romero's. That was his preferred cut, because the extended cut, he wasn't done editing yet, and that was for I believe some sort of film festival.
Yeah, it was Cannes when he just threw it
was Cannes. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and the extended cut's cool because you got Joe Polito in there for a small role, so you can kind of pretend that that's Rhodes at some point, I guess, But I just prefer the the theatrical, what was released
I
over
love
here,
the theatrical.
because
I
the
kind
pacing's
of grown
better.
to just like the extended cut now.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I'll throw what I call zombie in, which is Argento's cut, just for fun, because there's actually like a little bit of extra violence, I think, in it. And I don't know. It's definitely not my favorite cut of the film, though.
Right.
That one's trimmed down more, and I think that's more like
it's a
action
shorter,
packed.
it's faster paced, focuses more on the gore, and not the story so much.
Yeah.
It like skips a lot of the whole focusing on them being obsessed with the mall and wanting to keep it and loving it. So it's more just here's some balls out zombie, kind of like a lot of Italian horror can be. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's skip the story and get to the fun.
Right. Yeah, definitely for me, the theatrical is my preferred for one simple reason, because I absolutely love the extended edition, because I like, the added footage and stuff like that. I like that they made it longer. I don't know why. I do like that they made it longer. But the thing that keeps it from being my favorite cut is the music, because I absolutely love Goblin's music in the theatrical cut. Like, you do get a little bit of it in the extended cut, but
it's kind of missing from there though.
Yeah,
because
the beginning you get the whole royalty free music or whatever the fuck it was, that they kind of like what they did with Night of the Living Dead. So it's kind of more that ominous like stock music that they used versus the theatrical. You had that thumping goblin theme, in the beginning, which I thought just fits so well. It was, I thought Goblin's music for this whole movie was great, and it should have been used all the way through that.
It's Dawn of the Dead.
Exactly. So that's the only thing that keeps that. Oh yeah, the gong. You gotta have that too. A little bit of Herbert Chapel there. I love that song. That was the other thing when we were talking about back in high school making this movie. We were gonna make a rock version of the gong, for the ending credits.
Cool.
And yeah, there's just a lot of things I wish we would have ended up doing like that, but it is what it is. But yeah, good memories. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead. I loved everything in this whole movie. I mean, everything just went so well. I mean, I loved how the zombies were too in this, like with their look and whatnot. It almost looked cartoonish, and it fit well with this movie.
Yeah, I've always kind of been.
It's like a comic book movie.
Zombie, though.
Exactly.
I really like it.
Even the blood is so bright red and almost like paint looking.
Yep.
I mean, it looks like a comic book.
I agree, and that's what I love about this one. Because I love Day because of how realistic everything is, but I like the comic book
that's dirty. That was dirty and grimy, Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
I always loved how Romero said, you have your he called them purists who love night, and that was it for them. He said you have people who love Dawn for it's like a comic book adventure type movie, and then he smiled and he said, then you've got your trolls who love the down and gritty, dirty Day of the Dead. And I was like, I'm one of those trolls.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm one of those trolls. That's my
fall
favorite.
in love with George even more.
Yeah, well, that's his favorite movie of the franchise too, or was. I don't know if I can't remember if Survival like replaced that because I know he loved Survival. Maybe that was his second favorite and Day was still his first, but
maybe. Yeah.
I pretend Survival doesn't exist.
I don't know. I didn't mind Survival.
Yeah, I don't hate those as much as everybody.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the original trilogy.
No.
Survival for me, it feels like a 2-act movie, not a 3-act movie. I don't know how to explain it. It's just
I know what you mean.
I own it, so I mean, I'm not like, of course I was joking when I said it doesn't exist, but that's just me. I mean, I say that about Halloween Resurrection, but I still freaking own it and watch it. But, the whole thing, like zombies riding horses, I know like Land of the Dead, they're relearning things and all that stuff. I don't know. That just seemed too over the top for me, I guess. And I love the whole thing with the two families, like it's the Hatfield and McCoys just setting a zombie apocalypse, which I thought was a really cool idea. I just didn't think it was fully executed as well as it could have been.
I agree. I thought it was a fun movie,
I enjoyed it more. I was, of all the land, like, as much as everyone, that one was so big, it felt so out of place in all of them.
Yeah.
And you had like Dennis Hopper, man, and John Leguizamo, big name actors in that.
Too big. I was like, this doesn't feel like a George Romero zombie movie.
I really liked Diary when it first came out, and then over the years, it's really just fallen for me because I'm just like, it's just beat you. It beat you over the head with the message about the media and all this stuff. Yeah. We know the media is a piece of crap, but it's just like, oh, look at the media's hiding this information and blah blah. I'm just like, I loved it when I first saw it, and then I'm just like, I like the characters in that movie though. I mean, I thought the characters were great.
Yeah,
especially that English professor. Thought he was awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. But back to Dawn here. After a little segue there into other Romero's dead movies.
We just love these damn dead movies too.
I know.
It's hard to talk about one and not talk about the other.
It really is. It really is. So, another cool thing with this movie is, Tom Savini did like basically all of his own stunts.
Yeah.
Like when he took that dive over the fucking balcony, under all those boxes and stuff.
Yeah, he's a stuntman. I mean,
yeah. It was. So he was pulling double duty. He was doing his own stunts and, having a character in the movie.
He'd already, done some work, but I guess because, going to Vietnam or whatever, his level of...
He's a combat photographer.
Yeah. His level
which is where his special effects were from that.
He was able to...
Yeah.
A whole another level, man. So.
Oh, definitely.
That's why his effects were so, effective because of what he saw over in Vietnam.
Yeah.
He did it. He was the one who shot the shotgun in Maniac and basically blew his own head up. So he's like, we have one chance. We only have one chance to do this. I'm doing it so we can do it right. And he took the shotgun and they just filmed it and he blew up his own head.
That's great. I'm trying to think of other things that were interesting with that movie because there's a lot. Because obviously you have when they're securing the mall, kind of going through, killing the different zombies, and the whole semi scene where they're running the semis in front of the entranceways and all that.
Got this, man. Got this by the balls.
God, he was fucking losing it. I love that.
He smacked him. I don't know if it'll work, but I would have had to hit him or something before.
I think that's my favorite line in the whole movie.
Right?
Got this by the balls, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, his whole character transformation was great.
Yeah. You think he's like a steady, normal, level-headed
He starts
cop,
losing it.
Evolves into eventually a dead zombie guy.
Yeah. Then obviously you do have the apartment scene too, with him and Peter going against that whole gang and stuff, and then they're it's a kind of a ghetto area, so then you have the people that are trying to protect their family members who've been bitten, and then everybody's just being turned into zombies.
Yeah, that's a wild opening anyways, man. I've always thought.
Yeah.
It's like SWAT guy going berserk. That guy was nuts too.
What's wrong? And that's probably would be the crazy ass response is this military action that's probably delayed too long and then just killing innocent people when they didn't even need to.
Right.
It would be a clusterfuck. The whole thing would be. So, and that's what it shows. So.
Tidbit, the guy who played Martin in George Romero's Martin, he's in Dawn of the Dead. He's one of the apartment tenants who gets shot on the roof at the beginning when they're about to storm the place. He has a wig. Yeah,
That's
I think he's the guy in the red shirt, and he has a wig on with it's a long hair wig.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
And they go with a bunch of handguns to fight the police.
Yeah, they have assault rifles and shotguns.
God. Most mismatched thing ever.
Because the guy's just spouting out all these racial epithets. It's just like, come on, you little Puerto Rican, blah, 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 blah. It's just
Such a
laughing
racist
because
motherfucker.
the guy's just losing it himself. He's just like, come on. He's just like cocking and shocking. Come on, show your little Puerto Rican, blah, 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 blah. It just keeps going on and on and on.
God. Yeah, it's a great movie. I mean, even now, after all these years, we're talking 40 years now, I think it still holds up pretty well for how it is.
It does.
If not even more so. People are so, as far as like the consumer-based idea, people are so entrenched in what they buy as their identity. I can see like people crumbling even faster.
Oh yeah,
than they would have then.
Definitely.
Like then it was an ingenious idea. Let's get in the mall and do that. Now the whole everybody's going there to try to take that shit. Like that's the last place you want to go because all the idiots are going to be there trying to take it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because shopping malls was basically a new idea at the time too. It wasn't like some old institution. It was just becoming a thing.
I think we need to institute some robots for Black Friday.
And we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yes.
Just
so yeah, I mean, overall for Dawn, I mean, like I said, this is probably my favorite zombie movie of all time, and it's got a lot of sentimental value with regards to it getting me into wanting to make movies, and having that experience with my buddies back in high school where we watched it so much and planned out this movie and everything, even though it never happened. But it really stuck with me, with this movie and whatnot. And between, like, the thing I love about this movie is it could be scary, it could be funny, and kind of everything in between. It kind of like had a little bit of everything, and it had something for everyone, with regards to that. And that's what I absolutely loved about this movie. So with all that being said, if you were to give this one a rating, what would you rate this movie? Because I would give it 5 out of 5, personally.
I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, just because Day deserves the 5 for me. So.
Understandable.
I'm the same with Sean, because I was like, Day's my favorite, so this one's right next to it, so it's 4.5 for me.
So it averages out to be about a 4.5 out of 5. It's definitely one that you should check out if you haven't checked it out before. Especially, getting ready for Black Friday. Oh, yeah, definitely. But
just pay $200 for the Blu-ray, everyone.
Or just watch it on YouTube for free.
So it's on YouTube right now. So.
Until Rubenstein gets off his fucking ass and stops being a dickhead. But that's a whole other story. That's a whole other rant. I've had enough rants for one night.
It's been a ranting kind of night.
Kind of. A little bit.
Damn these people.
So, all this to say, if you haven't seen Dawn of the Dead, you should really check it out. It's a great, great zombie movie. I think it's one that everybody should see if you've ever been a fan of anything zombie-wise, because it's one of George Romero's greatest flicks that he's made. So,
kind of what helps all this crap be out in the first place, man.
Exactly.
Well, not all of it's crap, but most of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it is.
It really is. So, check it out if you haven't checked it out. Now, moving along, let's go ahead and take a look at Chopping Mall.
They broke into the mall for the wildest all-night party of their lives.
It's dead meat.
But you're never alone in the Chopping Mall.
What's that? Robot blood.
Chopping Mall, where shopping costs you an arm and a leg.
So Chopping Mall was released on March 21st, 1986. Had a runtime of 77 minutes. Actually, originally it was 95 minutes, but ended up being cut. Had a budget of estimated of being about $800,000. So it actually had a bigger budget than Dawn of the Dead. that came out a few years earlier, which is kind of wild thinking about it.
Yes, because if you were to guess, you'd probably think Dawn had a bigger budget.
Right. Exactly. You would
Roger
think.
Corman produced this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, actually, his wife Jolie was the actual producer. Yeah.
Well, he still had his hand kind of in it. 'Cause he showed up. In the
I mean, it was
there.
his company. I mean, it's his company overall, but she was the main producer. She's the one who went.
He actually, Jim
light.
said he sat with him and kind of said, "This is how you make a movie," which threw away everything Jim learned in film school.
Yeah.
And taught him a whole different way. And he said he still has that yellow pad that Roger Corman wrote that on. So much that he's used it for every movie and has never broken that. And basically that's the way to make a movie. And I wish I had a copy of this piece of paper.
No kidding. No kidding. Chopping Mall stars Kelly Maroney, Tony O'Dell, Russell Todd, Carrie Emerson, Barbara Crampton, the wonderful Barbara Crampton, and the late, great Dick Miller. A couple little tidbits of information regarding Chopping Mall. Director Jim Wynorski actually provided the voices of the 3 protector robots in the movie. I thought that was interesting. Because I didn't know that. Have a nice day. So this was filmed in Sherman Oaks Galleria. It's the same mall that was used in Commando. Most notably near the elevators. So, and because their budget was so small, well, small in comparison, because of those budget constraints, they actually had to film after the close of business, which is, you'd imagine, is fairly normal, especially when the whole fucking thing takes place after the thing closes. So, the movie was originally theatrically released in March of 1986 under the original title Killbots, but did poorly. And that's when it got taken out, recut, and then finally released as what we know it as Chopping Mall.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
I'm interested to see the Killbots full version just to see it, because see how it was.
Yeah. I just hate the name.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. They're practically built to, obviously, being in the 80s and stuff. They used a bunch of different parts from, like, wheelchairs and, like, conveyor belts and all that shit. It was all made, and they had 5 of them total that they had put together because they had some backups just in case, which was smart. But to kind of give you a little bit of a synopsis of what the movie was about for those of you that haven't seen Chopping Mall, because I know Chopping Mall isn't, like, the most popular movie, obviously, as a Roger Corman movie, so it wasn't like a big budget, like nationally like recognized movie. So the plot is a group of young shopping mall employees stay behind for a late night party in one of the stores after the mall closes. There's a lightning storm, causes these robots to go insane basically, so it's like the polar opposite of Short Circuit. And so when the mall goes on lockdown before they can get out,
I looked at it too. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So mall goes on lockdown, robot security malfunctions, and goes on a killing spree basically. And so that's kind of the plot of the movie. I absolutely love this movie. You know, for being 77 minutes only, it doesn't seem like it's that short.
No, I always thought that, like, every time I see the runtime, I'm like, damn, like that movie. Not that it drags along, but it definitely doesn't feel like it's, an hour. Only a little over
the pacing is perfect for what it is.
I agree.
It doesn't feel too fast, doesn't feel too long.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
It's a horror film, but also feels like an action film too, because I mean, you got these kids fighting against these robots.
Yep.
I mean, you have the great John Terlesky, who is Deathstalker, Deathstalker 2. He gets one of the first deaths.
Yep. He had a little cameo from Rodney Eastman before he became famous from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4. Stealing some vinyls in the beginning. That was great.
It really gives that 80s mall feel too.
Oh, definitely.
Hey, and don't forget at the beginning when they were showing off the robots, you had Paul Bartel and
Yep.
Oh gosh, I can't even think of her name now. Her name just left my brain. What's her face?
What the fuck was her name?
Yeah, she's in Night of the Comet. She's in Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll High School, both Rock and Roll High School movies. Anyway, they have
Right.
That's sad because Mary Warnoff, that's who it is, finally came to me. Mary Warnoff, they're in the beginning and they're hilarious. They're basically playing the same characters from that one movie called Eating Raw Wool.
Yep.
I believe is the name. I mean, they basically were. It was just the same.
Oh,
just
then
being
you got
smug.
Then you got Angus Scrimm as Dr. Carrington too. So the tall man from the Phantasm franchise is in the beginning as well.
Cameos.
Definitely, yeah.
Lenny Juliana.
Yep.
He was in Jim Wynorski. He's been in a lot of Jim movies, but like None of This Earth, he was the limo driver.
Yeah.
He plays the thief in the demonstration for the robots at the beginning. So I mean, just a lot of stuff, a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, they had so much stuff in this movie, and it made it worked so well. You know, the whole pacing, like we were talking about, just it didn't seem too long, but it didn't seem too short either. You know, I think overall, I mean, this movie was just great, and then you know the setting was great, even the effects, even though the lasers were cheesy as fuck. I mean, you still had the practical like gore effects, which were great.
It's just a fun movie.
It really is.
It's fun.
I mean, being Jim Wynorski, I mean, it was his second movie that he directed.
Yep.
I mean, his first movie, The Lost Empire, which also starred Angus Scrimm, who was the villain in that movie, isn't really a good movie.
Yeah,
it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, and you know, Jim Wynorski talked about that, and I've listened to a lot of his commentaries because I'm a Jim guy.
He didn't think he was going to make a movie.
Right.
Yeah, so he just threw in everything in that movie. And then Choppy Mall came, and it's such a solid, fun B flick. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
And then he went on to do Deathstalker 2, which is, in my opinion, the best movie of the Deathstalker franchise because it doesn't take itself seriously. And he did Big Bad Mama 2 with Angie Dickinson reprising the role, which, in my opinion, is so much better than the first movie. I mean, the first movie is not bad, but the second movie has that Jim touch where it's just fun. And then he did, you know, Not of This Earth, Transylvania Twist, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
I love Transylvania Twist.
Man. I love Jim.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's done so much stuff. I mean,
another fact about Choppy Mall: it's the only one of his films that his mom saw, and she approved outside of the girl showing her breasts. So.
I don't know why that woman had to show her breasts, though. I love that story.
I'm trying to remember if this was this movie. Dana Kimmel, wasn't she supposed to be in this movie, but ended up not being in it because of the nudity and the sexuality in it? I could have sworn I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. I'm reading it.
I did not know.
It says when Kelly Maroney was cast, it's because he had seen her in a few things, and she replaced Dana Kimmel, who had been on the cast on the strength of her performance in Lone Wolf McQuade, but she didn't want to do anything sexual. So,
okay. I knew I wasn't crazy.
You're not.
But definitely by far with this movie, Dick Miller is my favorite character in this whole fucking thing. Because I mean,
I'm trying to mop up the damn floor, man.
He's trying to do his job.
Walter Paisley, the immortal Walter Paisley.
Yep.
How many times he's played that character?
Yeah, his character, great, just so good. Classic Dick Miller too. I mean, anytime you see Dick Miller, it's a treat, and this one is definitely no exception. His character's just awesome. Best part of the movie for me, but by far. I mean, even
come on, we're on the same team. We're on the same team here. Here's my badge. Show identification, please.
Poor guy gets electrocuted just for trying to do his job.
I think he needed to get some new mop water, if I remember correctly. That mop water was dirty as crap. Yeah,
in the bucket, not on the floor.
Yeah. Like, kind of need to refill that, buddy.
Oh, those other guys just leaving him to do his fucking work. They're just leaving, eating food, laughing, having a good old time. Dick Miller's just pissed, just trying to get his job.
Dick Miller. Dick Miller had his revenge in Demon Knight. So.
Yep.
So when is
for
Walmart
sure.
and Best Buy going to release their droids? To
Right.
get the king of this Black Friday madness.
That's cheaper to lose a couple of workers, so
Right.
they're not going
I,
to
for one, am all for it.
Some of these people, I mean, how people are nowadays. I mean, it's
Oh,
kind
man,
of
people
calmed
are
down in the
nuts.
last few years because everybody's doing a lot more online shopping, but at the same time,
Thank goodness.
you still get some crazes that go out, on Thanksgiving night. It's not even
When
Black
I worked
Friday
in
anymore.
retail many years ago, I was at Walmart and got to participate in 2 different ones, and it is some of the most crazy shit I've witnessed as far as shopping goes. Like the shit you see in movies, as far as people throwing shit and stepping on people and hurting people, like that shit is accurate. It's not an exaggeration or a joke.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
fucking truth.
People are nuts.
Yeah, like I've only gone to Walmart one time for a Black Friday, and it was the last time I went, and this was like 10 years ago. Just seeing people
This is when
fight over
we-
a DVD
like,
player.
We were closed on Thanksgiving and opened that morning of Black Friday, and I was towards the back of the store, man. And as soon as saw the time hit on the watch, like you knew the doors, you could hear a rumble of people and carts coming into the fucking store, like a movie.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh my god! And then some guy came around and saw one of my friends. He's like, "Where's the paper shredders?" He's like, "I think they're," and he's like, "I just want a fucking paper shredder." At that moment, I knew it wasn't going to be a fun morning.
Sad.
Yes, and they were throwing VCRs over people, like literally. So there was a guy on the stack. I'm just throwing him back over his head, which kind of was weird to me. I was like, he must have people back there because he ain't getting none of them. But it was just insanity, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% because
Shameful, like.
it is.
I
It
don't know,
really
and-
is.
And people were like so happy and smiling and proud. And I was like, maybe I'm just mean or something. But all of you disgust me.
Right.
Merry Christmas.
And a crappy New Year.
Glad you
Oh,
all
Sean, we
lost
got-
your fucking humanity fighting over a fucking TV.
Sean and I got to watch Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys this year. Again.
Yes.
That's our Christmas movie. That's our Christmas
Okay,
movie.
man. It's a
Is that in that
tradition.
box set?
Unfortunately,
Nah.
no.
It's not. God damn.
That's the only one Full Moon didn't produce.
Yeah.
Well, that and the remake, but Charles Band allowed the remake to happen. He gave the producers permission, so I know he got some money
Unfortunately, the
out
only
of it.
way to get, I think, that is bootleg right now.
Shit.
they might
Now
have
you can get it
bit-
on DVD.
Isn't it
It's like
expensive, then?
$7. I don't think
Oh,
so. It's
really?
like $7-8. Yeah, it's
Well,
not.
I might bother. I've been watching a bootleg all these
Yeah, I've got the official Anchor Bay
Yeah,
DVD I
I
bought a
need
few
that.
years ago.
I'll have
I
to
got
look
an
into
old
that.
bootleg Puppet Master set that it was on. That's the only reason I still have that disc is because that's on there.
R.I.P. I offer.
Right.
Yes,
I think their site's down again.
it's done, man. The first time they actually did it, they got a lawsuit on them for all that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they had
Because they came back and like just some of the TV shows that I was like had my watch list for years like was gone, and
Yeah.
I was like, these shows are never going to get released on DVD unless Mill Creek or somebody does it. I'm just
Right.
like Yes Dear and Still Standing, but then
I'm glad I
it all
was
just
able to
disappeared.
because that's honestly that's the main stuff I got was just shit you can't get. So. And
yeah,
that's really what was going on there. Like, I didn't pay no high dollar for any of that stuff, you know what I mean?
no,
Right.
You know, and a lot, like I said, like I got the Mr. Belvedere because I had the first 2 seasons I think they released, and they never released anymore. So I got the whole set.
They never
The guy
released the,
charged
like,
me
the last 2.
The guy charged me like $10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the shipping and the disc and all that. I don't think he was ripping me off or making any money. He might have made $1 or 2, but
Right.
He's
Like
probably
it.
making like $1 profit.
yeah, it was just, you know. Now, granted, there were people on there taking advantage, but there was a lot of people just passing movies around. It's
Right.
a shame it had to
Yeah.
go there.
From
Definitely.
fan to fan is basically what it was.
Yeah.
Fan to fan.
Pretty much. So
it's so funny because this weekend I went back to iOffer just for the heck of it. Because I was like, I want to check it out again. I haven't been there in a while, and it's like down again. So I think it's like Sean said, it's a done.
Yeah, probably more than likely. Kind of coming back to Chopping Mall here. Any other thoughts you guys have about the movie?
It has the best head explosion scene in any movie.
Yeah,
I won't say in any, but it is one of my favorites. Plus,
Yeah.
you know, she
Awesome.
had a great chest, but she deserved it. So.
right. Definitely.
Her chest got shot too.
She got tore up
She
a couple
did.
times that night. So.
Yep. In more ways than one.
One way was fun for her. I mean,
Right. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked this out yet, like we were saying earlier, Shout TV is doing a 24-hour marathon on Black Friday of this movie, so it's a perfect time to check it out. You'll have plenty of time to do it during that day. Definitely worth doing. Definitely worth checking out. As for rating on this, for this movie, I love this movie. It is a B movie, so it's not like the most immaculate horror movie that you're ever going to see. But it's a fun romp, you know, with this movie. It's great to pop in every once in a while and just have a good time. For this one, I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5 for a rating on this one.
I'll concur.
I'm gonna give it freaking 5 stars because I enjoy it so much.
Okay.
It's such a fun movie. It's such a fun movie. I love it. Now, does that mean I like it more than Dawn of the Dead? No. I'm rating these as on 2 different scales, of course.
Definitely.
So yeah, because they're not the same type of movie,
Right.
and they were never meant to be. So
No, definitely not.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I give it
I'm
5
stuck in
stars for
between
just
3
pure
and 4. That's
entertainment.
why I picked 3.5.
Okay. So we're about 4.25 out of 5, pretty much, which isn't bad. It's a good movie. Definitely check it out if you haven't. You know, for both of these, for both Dawn of the Dead and Chopping Mall, if you haven't checked
And
it
if
out.
you like
check it
Chopping
out.
Mall, look up Jim Wynorski. You won't be
Yes.
disappointed. So.
Exactly.
Especially all his 80s stuff, except for A Lost Empire, are really
You
solid.
will, if you look him up, you will notice he kind of gets into some questionable movies, but everyone's got to make
Yeah.
a living. So.
No, definitely.
I will recommend. It's basically the only like real straight horror film that he ever made. I mean, full on horror, which was the Haunting of Morella, which he made in 1990. That's a really good, solid movie
Okay.
with great atmosphere, based on Edgar Allan Poe, and Corman produced it also, and it's a good movie. It's one of my favorites of his too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not of
Great
this Earth,
score.
It's one of my favorites. It is.
Oh, I love Not of This Earth.
It's my favorite of all the ones they've done. That's my favorite version.
Yeah, the 3 versions they've done.
Yeah.
It's the best one in my opinion too.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, this kind of review episode. If you guys are liking these reviews and you guys want us to do more, definitely let us know. And if there's any other movies that you want us to review, feel free to let us know. As always, you can reach out to us through our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at CLS Podcast. Until next time, though, we appreciate you guys checking out the episode, as always. And as Ted always says,
Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, because next week we're going to talk about the Land Before Time movies, all 37 of them. So get ready for... Oh, that's not what you were talking about. Oh, sorry.
That was a surprise, Tim.
way to ruin it.
Slay you next week.
Thanks for joining us today for the CLS Podcast. Check us out at www.clspodcast.com or join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag CLS Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, campers.